Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined this week by Konner.
What up?
Trevor is out this week and probably next week and maybe the episode after that. They welcomed in their second child this weekend. Yeah. Trevor's officially a father of two.
Mm-hmm. Everything went well. Everybody's healthy.
Yeah, super exciting. Super exciting. The Foundation family grows. So leave some comments down below congratulating Trevor, and I'll make sure he reads them.
I found out that I'm having a boy.
Yes. I didn't know if that was public, so I wasn't going to say it.
I posted on Instagram.
Heck yeah.
So I made the joke that we officially have replacements for whenever we die.
There we go.
I guess we don't have to die. We could just retire, but...
Either way.
If we're on our next West Coast tour, if we all die, then, you know...
That's a dark way to think of it.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Well, trick's on you. We're not going on another West Coast tour. No. So if we do, it'll probably just be our kids going out that far in the future. Lot to talk about this week. Chess.com Invitational Disc Golf is back. It went down this past weekend, and my goodness, were there storylines on storylines on storylines. So we'll have a lot of fun recapping all of that. We're going to kick it off with a Patreon question of the week, though, first.
Love that.
We have our first Manufacturer Cup standings. Shout out to Edwin Stats. He did a phenomenal job on the graphic. You'll see later. A little Trevor's trivia minus Trevor, so just trivia. And some information came out about the PDGA U-Disc relationship that I found very interesting. I think you will as well. And then also the official Disc Golf World Rankings are now out. So, like I said, jam-packed episode. But let's kick it off with a Patreon question of the week. This comes from patreon.com/Foundation Disc Golf, where we have our Heiser Club mailbag, which is a weekly Q&A show where people ask us whatever they want, and we answer each and every question.
This last one got crazy. We went down some rabbit holes talking about sharks fighting polar bears.
That's true.
It was insane.
It was reminiscent of when the banter used to be on Patreon, and Brody said that he could take down a cow with his bare hands, and Trevor defended him.
Yeah.
And Trevor brought it up the other day, and Trevor still thinks he could take on a cow with his bare hands. Since Trevor's not here, we can all agree that's ludicrous.
Yeah.
It's like
it's a cow.
State Farm commercial where if I say ludicrous 3 times, it just pops up behind me.
Like a good neighbor.
All right, this question came from Derek Rashke. He said, what do you think is the most overrated and underrated Pro Tour stop? I'm changing my answer.
You're changing it.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say I said slightly overrated. Not that I dislike it, but just it's pretty highly hyped on is maybe Ledgestone.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not super passionate about that, but if I had to pick one.
Overrated.
Why don't you say what you said? And we'll go through your whole thought process.
On the Heiser Club mailbag, I said MVP. But only because it's spoken so highly of that I refuse to believe it's as good as it's
Hunter
said.
Is so scared
I'm terrified
of getting hurt by Maple Hill, like emotionally.
Yes.
That he has to convince himself he doesn't like it.
There's just been, as a disc golfer, okay, who has the blessing of this job where I have gotten to play many courses that have been my dream courses.
The most hyped up courses ever.
I have been let down several times. Mm-hmm. And Maple Hill is like the biggest case of that. I haven't played it, so I haven't been let down. It's just the amount of hype around it.
So you're trying to let yourself down.
I'm trying to let myself down before I show up. Yeah. So that when I show up, I'm already down, so then it's only up.
That is a mental tactic.
Versus showing up at the peak, but that's not fair to the tournament. So that's why I'm changing my answer, because that's not a fair... Because that doesn't mean it's actually overhyped.
I wanted everybody to hear your thought process.
It doesn't mean it's actually overhyped or overrated. It just means that I'm trying to get it underrated in my
Hunter's
head.
Just trying to guard his heart.
Yeah, I'm trying to guard my heart. Yeah, I've been hurt too many times. So therefore, I'm changing my answer.
I love that so much.
I'm changing it to... I'm going to change it to GMC. Only because, not because of the course. I think it's a phenomenal stop. I think it's, in general, I think it's phenomenal. It's very hard to get to.
Okay.
And so, because it's up in the mountains at Smuggler's Notch.
Yeah.
I've heard from pros that, like, basically, if you're not staying at the resort, you're, like, 40-some minutes away. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, sustainability-wise and, like, growth of the tour-wise, I don't think that makes a bunch of sense. Because, like, how do you get a ton of spectators to a spot that's really hard to get to?
That does make sense.
I think the courses are great. I think it films well. It's enjoyable to watch, but it's held as like one of the all-time great Pro Tour events. And I think that a big part of that is the atmosphere and the audience. And so if you can't have a good audience there, then I think it's tough.
Yeah. If anybody answers this question and says USDGC, then
we were not allowed to say USDGC for either answer. That was a caveat.
That makes sense.
That was a caveat.
I think that we would fight you. And I would black out. And
now, what do you think is the most underrated?
USDGC. I'm just kidding. I'm not sure on that. I feel like they're all pretty rated. I feel like there's not a lot that people like crap on a ton.
Vegas got crapped on a lot, and I disagree with it.
Yeah,
but I will say, I really liked the tour opening at Olympus this weekend.
Yeah,
it felt better than Vegas. It felt good.
I used to love a lot Konner. What tournament was actually held there?
Konner
Open. That's right. I used to really love that. Like, maybe it was just like one of the first things that came out whenever I started watching disc golf, and like nobody really cared that much about it, but I thought it was cool.
That was a cool tournament.
Doesn't exist though.
You know what? Give me Waco. I think that
I was thinking we were still talking about overrated.
No, underrated. Waco is always wacko, and it kind of gets it gets a weird rep for that. I won't say that it's not the best pro tour at all, but now it will be interesting this year. They're going to 2 courses, which will be a nice switch up. But I do like that you like legitimately never know who's going to win.
Yeah,
it's the most like
that's fun.
It's fun. It's fun because the course is challenging enough. You know, obviously there's some interesting gimmicks and stuff to it, but it's challenging enough. But I feel like every time going into Waco, you're like, this is literally anyone's game, and you have players break out there and then just never show up again. It's just like
that's a good point.
So,
future most underrated is probably going to be Worlds 2024. You're going to want to be there for that.
I would agree with that statement. All right, let's get into the chess.com recap. First off, results. FPO, we had Evelina Solonen taking it down. Ella Hansen coming second. Missy Gannon and Holland Hanley tied for third. On the MPO side, we had Anthony Barella taking it down. Ricky Wysocki coming in second. And Goose, Aaron Gossage, finishing in solo third there. So let's hop into FPO first. Evelina wins with an incredible final round. I believe she went 8 under final round. This is her first win on tour since 2020 Waco.
Wow.
Which was that was the tournament when the world shut down. They like mid-tournament got rid of all the spectators and all of that stuff nearly 4 years ago. So she's went about 4 years without a win. She has Elite Series and wins, stuff like that, but it all came to a halt at 2020 Waco. And she's won like A tiers and some European stuff since then, but this was her first win back.
Yeah.
She won by 5, like I said, thanks to that incredible 8 under final round. Fascinating thing here is she was only 67% C1X putting on the weekend, but she was 90%, 89% in the final round. So final round, when strokes mattered the most, she clutched up and she made her putts. And she made several like confident looking, 25 footers this weekend. But it wasn't like her putting was phenomenal. She was making it from everywhere all weekend long. Like 67% still has room for improvement, but we didn't see nearly the Evelina that we've seen in the past where like the final round, pressure's on, and it's just like, here comes a 3-putt from 15 feet at any second.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. So, and no surprise really, when that didn't happen, she's one of the best players at FPO.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kristen Tatar was not there this weekend, but I like the idea of if Evelina, she just got this monkey off her back, right? If she can carry this final round putting momentum, I mean, realistically, Evelina and Henna, talent-wise, thrower of the disc-wise, are 2 of the most poised and primed to take on Kristen Tatar head-to-head. It's just their putt is like, I mean, it just can disappear as quickly as it comes.
Yeah.
Like, it can literally just, like, one weekend be there, and the next weekend they can be shaky from 10 feet.
Yeah.
And you can't do that and beat Kristen. This weekend, like I said, you didn't see that. So that could point to all of her off-season work, Maybe she was able to gain confidence. And when you see your putt go in and you see the result of like, I just got to win under my belt, that helps you build more and more confidence on the course. Because practice putting can only do so much for your confidence. You have to get out there and do it during a tournament. And she just did that. 90% final round C1X putting. That could be huge for her for the rest of the season of going in. And now going into rounds, she can have a shaky putt and not worry about it's going to affect the rest.
It'll kind of a hard putting course too. I feel like there are
a lot of elevation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like the C1X stat can be a little bit.
You got sawgrass trying to cut your limbs off.
Honestly, the C1X stat on this course can be a little deceiving too, because sometimes like a player could be inside the circle and have thrown it to the wrong side of the circle and be in a tree, or in sawgrass, or in something where they're technically in the circle but they just don't have a putt.
Yeah.
So I don't think that happened a ton to Evelina, but that could account for one or two of the what you can call it, missed putts. So. Trying to pull up the stats there officially, and my computer just is crapping out. So that's fun. Live scoring. There we go. Other storylines, we had Missy, Ella, and Holland kind of picking up where they left off last year. They all had solid shots at winning this tournament, but they were just unable to hold off Evelina in the end. At different points in the round, different of them were in contention. And none of them, Holland, I would say, collapsed more than the other two, but not really. None of them collapsed. They were all in contention coming into the round. They all finished in the top 3. But what really happened is Holland and Ella both got off to rough starts. So through the first 4 holes, Ella Hansen was 4 over par. Holland Hanley was 3 over par through the first 4. And then they were able to Holland from that point on went clean. Ella was up and down a little bit more, but had a lot more birdies than bogeys. So she didn't go clean, but they both were able to play fine the rest of the rounds. They were able to hold on. It was just that initial start gave Evelina a little bit of a head start. And then later in the round, Missy Gannon kind of charged. And Missy's final score at 10 under, being 6 off of Evelina, is a little deceiving because she lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those strokes in the last 3 holes. So she was right there with her, but where Evelina went 2 under, she went 3 over on those last 3 holes. So Missy Gannon had a solid weekend out there. Missy, Ella, and Holland, all of them played solid, looked fine out there. I think they're going to be poised for a good season up ahead. Another big storyline coming into this weekend was Paige Pierce's return. I'm going to say it went okay. It was nothing great, but nothing like shockingly bad. Her worst round was round 1. She was never in contention, but she stayed, we'll call it, in the mix, finishing in 10th. Because there was a decent drop-off. So, from first place, you have Evelina at 16th. 10th place was Paige Pierce and Kat Mertz were at 3 over. So, 19 strokes out the lead. So, like I said, not in contention. But top 10, she was in the mix. And it's just going to be interesting to see, her confidence in her injury now that she has an event under her belt. Is it Waco, she's back feeling great? Or is this going to be a slow build throughout the year of trusting that leg again?
Yeah.
Because that's such a terrifying thing to trust. And obviously she's been playing, but it's different playing in.
How do you actually commit to a shot?
Yeah, it's different.
That it might put you out.
It's different playing for fun, rounds versus this is a tournament now and you have a whole different mentality and you already have tournament nerves, but now it's just adding another dynamic of I have to trust this leg.
Yeah. What are your initial season judgments based off of this way too early?
For FPO?
Yeah. For Paige specifically.
Oh, for Paige specifically? Yeah. I think this is going to be a winless year for Paige. I think she's going to get in contention once or twice. But I think for her, it's just get out there, complete tournaments, and, hopefully by a few events in, you can get your confidence back. But I think it's going to be tough because I think you saw a lot of promise from Evelina, Henna, Ella, Holland, Missy. There's a lot of people out there that were just playing solid already. And Paige, even last year, was struggling a little bit. I think she had 1 or 2 wins last year prior to the injury, but she wasn't always in contention. She had a lot more up and down prior to the injury.
Yeah.
So when you add in this injury aspect, I think it's just going to make the season a little harder. She has another thing to overcome in addition to trying to overcome the field. And, she's a veteran out there.
Yeah.
She's not the young up-and-comer anymore.
Yeah.
She's not old by any means. She still, has plenty of time left in her career, but she's not a spring chicken to the tour.
Yeah.
So I think that also adds a factor too.
What page are we getting this year? Are we getting the Drive Passion Fierce page, or are we getting the We're Just All Floating on a Rock page?
Floating on the Rock. The Drive Passion Fierce page is when she wins.
Yeah.
That's the Kristen Tatar page. She has another year or two to get back to that, but that chapter of her career might be over.
Okay.
I think. And there's nothing wrong with that. She's out there to just enjoy disc golf. It's just the only hard part is her whole brand was built on dominance.
Yeah.
Her whole brand was built on, I'm the best, come beat me. And so it's a brand shift I think is what we're seeing from Paige. And people evolve, people grow, people change. So I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think it's just if your fan base is expecting dominance, expecting wins every weekend, expecting the super fierce competitor, and you don't give them that, then I think that's where the brand, like the fan base, might not react the best. But it's just growing a different fan base now. Because
maybe whenever that leg gets more confident, then she'll
longevity wise, the brand that Paige is trying to build right now of I'm not taking on the whole field. I'm not putting the whole world on my shoulders. Winning isn't everything. Like I can go out here and have fun. There's more to life than disc golf. There's more to disc golf than winning. Longevity wise, it's a much easier brand to build and carry.
Yeah.
Because you can Simon isn't building this brand, but Simon built his brand on not just winning. So Simon can come out and have a mediocre weekend and sell just as many discs on Monday and have just as many fans on Monday.
Yeah.
I think if Paige is almost trying to build that type of a brand, I feel like now, and I think that's fine. It's just going to be a rough transition period because she still every weekend right now is facing, like Paul was last year and Paul might still be this year, you're facing the eyeballs of everyone's expecting win or bust. Like if you don't win, you failed this weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure there, especially when you're probably not going to win most weekends. So like I said, her return I think went okay. It was just get through this weekend, prove to yourself you can play, prove to yourself you can trust your leg, and see what happens from there on out. The other big storyline I went and hit on was Haley King DNF'd. I haven't personally seen exactly a reason as to why. People were saying it's possibly related to a T-pad slip out on the course, which would point to a possible injury, but hopefully it's nothing too serious and she's back in Waco. But that's definitely gonna be a storyline to kind of follow because Haley King is another one of those players that is like poised to push Kristen Tatar this year. So now on the MPO side, Anthony Barella finally gets his win, his moment in the spotlight. It feels like a long time coming, but he's turning 24 this year. He was born in the year 2000. So he's been playing for a long time, but this is really only his second year full touring, I believe. He was always kind of like touring part-time. But he has one of the highest ceilings in disc golf. He seemed very in control all weekend. It just felt like it was going to take a collapse for him to lose. Like it just felt like he was making the right choices. He was, scrambling when he needed to scramble. His putt looked dialed all weekend. And he had a moment that I thought it might have all slipped out of his hand on 17 in the final round. He threw OB, threw a second shot that probably should have went OB, but got a good kick out. And then he, threw a good shot from there and then missed the putt. And whereas Ricky was able to, I believe, take a par there, easily could have spilled onto 18. 18 is a very, very tricky hole. Lots of ways to go OB. And if you do go OB, it's pretty tough to get up and down for par, depending on where you go OB. And he had to par that hole because if Ricky birdied, he bogeyed, they're going to a playoff. And he executed 2 shots to perfection to give himself what all weekend would have been a birdie look, but he just laid up for the win. So very impressive there. I
like AB, like I like his playing just fine, but I'm not typically the person that's like a huge AB fan because his style just doesn't really match up with mine very much. He's not like the style guy, like personality-wise, that I really like to invest in just because I like more of the goofy guys. That's just kind of how I am. But he did kind of like, he earned my fandom this weekend with mainly just because the interview afterwards, I feel like I saw like the emotion of like his raw emotion. I didn't feel like he was trying to be cool or anything like that. I just felt like he was like showing his emotion of how much that meant to him, and I thought that was really cool. I loved that interview with him. It
was definitely a big moment for him, for his career, and the quote I believe he put in there was like, all the losses are worth it now. Yeah. 17 he collapses a little bit, right? Trevor tweets on 16. Well, this is the most, I don't know what was going through Trevor's head. Because if you remember hole 16 European Open, that's when Anthony Barella had a major in his grasp.
Yeah.
And literally threw it away.
Yeah.
Hole 16. Trevor, they're on hole 16, and Trevor tweets out, because at that point, AB was up by maybe 4. I think it was 4 at that point. And Trevor tweets out, I have my daughter's born and AB wins in the same weekend. What else does life have for me? And I responded. I immediately tweeted back at him like, did you seriously just tweet this while he's on hole 16? Like, are you just trying to jinx him? And as I send that tweet, hole 17 happens.
Yeah,
And the collapse starts. And I was like, Trevor, like, this is the most hilarious timing of all time. Like, Trevor's going to jinx this man out of a win. And so everyone's like going back and forth. And then they replay hole 16 at European Open, and AB's wearing the same shirt he's wearing. He's wearing the same jersey with the purple sleeves. And I was like, oh my gosh, Trevor, it goes deeper. He was wearing the same shirt. Like, we're watching this as the same thing happen.
This is a simulation.
Yeah. But then, no, the shirt is now his good luck shirt because it didn't happen. He held it together. He took a double on 17, par on 18, and it was enough to win by 1 over Ricky. Very impressive tournament out there for him. The thought that came to my mind, right, is we always ask, I wonder what would happen or like what could have been had Eagle not injured his shoulder.
Yeah.
AB might be that answer. When I was watching him, he reminded me a ton of like pre-injured Eagle, where he had all the distance in the world backhand. He has all the distance in the world forehand. He was throwing forehand shots that were just like mind-boggling how far out they were getting on like hyzers that slowly pushed up, and they just kept going and going and going, and they looked effortless.
Yeah.
And his putt was like, he's built like Eagle. Yeah. Everything about him kind of like screams Eagle McMahon as far as like his playing abilities. And Eagle was like just coming into his own, where it was like, all right, Eagle McMahon, who's going to beat Eagle? Like, the dude is just dominant right now when he got injured. I feel like that we could be looking at that same thing for AB. Like, he just feels like it feels like now that he has this monkey off his back, we could be poised to see like every weekend AB's the guy to beat.
Yeah.
Will that happen? I don't know. It depends on like what this does for his mental state. He seemed like he was in a really calm, in control, you're gonna mess up, it's okay mental state this weekend, which is very dangerous.
That's the most
good in a good way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I think that's what was best for him out there, was kind of having some grace for himself.
Yeah. It was very dangerous for the field, I guess I should say.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because like when you put that with the amount of arm talent and potential he has, like, this guy could be the next thing, which is crazy because we have like 4 of the next thing in the field. I was actually looking at this, right? So the future of the sport was just on display this weekend. So I'm gonna just read you the top 20, okay? Because this field was full. Like, this field is stacked. Like, all kinds of players that you'll know the names of from years and years are there. But let me just read who rose to the top here, because this course was not an easy track. We'll talk about the course a little bit later, but love it. Anthony Barella, Ricky Wysocki, Aaron Gossage, Gannon Burr, Kyle Klein, Isaac Robinson, Matty O, Gavin Rathbun, Jesse Niemanen, Nicholas Antela, Joseph Anderson, Gavin Babcock, Vino Makala, Matt Bell, Luke Humphreys, Ezra Robinson, Bradley Williams, Albert Tam, Simon Lizotte, Presnell, Brandon Brown, Nikola Castro, Adam Hammonds, Jakub Simmerod, and Casey White. There was a big tie for 17th, which is why you go to like 25 people. But in there is just so many of the like young, talented guys like getting themselves like even Gavin Rathbun. This was kind of like semi his return. Isaac Robinson's obviously a killer. Kyle Klein, Gannon Burr, like the top 5. Ricky Wysocki is the only non-up and comer in there. Yeah. The top 5's AB, Aaron Gossage, Gannon Burr, Kyle Klein, and then Ricky's in there. But those are all guys that are like the future of the sport. But then it just like keeps feeling like that. Like Gavin Babcock coming in 12th. Vino Makala is pretty young at 13th. Like Nicholas Antela is pretty young in 9th. Like Joseph Anderson, I believe, was a rookie last year, 2 years ago. Joey Buckets, he finished in 9th. He was in contention all weekend. Like, this was just the young talent was just on display. Yeah. And I thought that was a very fascinating storyline to look at throughout the weekend. But the other thing is Ricky Wysocki is still a force to be reckoned with. He just quietly cut this course apart this weekend.
Whenever he would just bang those putts, whenever the pressure was put on him, it looked like old Ricky.
Yeah, well, it just, like, I think it was round 3, he just felt out of it. And like you just didn't really feel like Ricky was going to do anything, and then you blink and he went 8 under through the back 9, and you didn't. He wasn't doing anything crazy. Like, he just was Rick. Like, he just wasn't messing up, and so everyone else was just kind of messing up here and there, and he just wasn't. He was just executing the shot that was in front of him, getting the birdie, moving on, and just he's a big momentum guy, and he just once he got on the momentum train, he just rode it, and then next thing you know, he only lost his event by 1, and it felt like. Even though it felt like he left a lot out there. He lost by 1, and it felt like he had a lot more in there. Now, AB, I'm sure you can say the same about, but for Ricky, it looked very good for Ricky to start the season. It looked very dangerous for Ricky out there.
Maybe he's kind of going into like a new Ricky era where instead of like the Saki bomb that he was before, like now he's sneaky Wysocki.
Sneaky Wysocki. I like that. He definitely had that like veteran feel to him where like, you know, when players
kind of composed.
Yeah, like when players in like the NBA, for instance, like the ones who have the longest career know how to just like adapt.
Yeah.
Like Vince Carter, obviously when he was like towards the end of his career, when he was a young gun, was just dunking all over people, just like but as he got older, he just adapted his game and then became like a really solid sixth man where like he just knew what to do because he was just really basketball smart.
Okay.
That's what I feel like Ricky is.
Yeah.
Is like Ricky's just really disc golf smart.
Yeah.
To where he knows when to push, when to pull back. He knows the game's going to happen to him at some times, but when he can happen to the game, he's going to take advantage of that moment. He knows like when to, this is a moment that I need to make this putt to put the pressure on. Like AB, for instance, on hole 17, Ricky hit probably like a 60-footer when AB had a 20-footer for bogey.
Mm-hmm.
If Ricky doesn't hit that 60-footer, AB doesn't miss that bogey putt. Obviously, there's no way to actually prove that statement's true, but that's what it feels like. And I feel like Ricky knew that of like, if I make this putt, there's a very solid chance AB misses that putt because then AB all of a sudden realizes like this 4-stroke lead gets cut to 2 on a very hard finishing 18.
Yeah.
And if you're a betting man, you know Ricky's going to birdie 18, which means I can't bogey it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the type of stuff that is now when you hit a 60-footer in a guy's face, that's what puts it into their head. And like, that's the type of moments where Ricky just like knows, and it feels like when there's an opportunity to attack like that, Ricky's always there.
I feel like I saw like one of the places that I saw a lot of wisdom from Ricky, like what you're saying, just being disc golf smart, was I believe it's on hole 2. I heard like in the commentary they were saying like nobody's been really quite biting off enough on this first shot on this hole, not really putting themselves in a good position. And then I saw him walk up because I heard in Brody's video when I was editing that, they were talking about how much danger there is in throwing too fast of a disc on that hole because it just skips into that sawgrass on the left. And so I saw Ricky throw his shot, and you think almost at first that he's just early release it into the woods, but he's just throws a flippy disc, hyzer flip on the left, which is cool. I feel like you don't see these kind of shots in disc golf as much anymore. You see more force overs or stuff like that, but he throws really flippy hyzer flip on the left, and then you see it go towards the trees, flip all the way over so that he gets the distance but lands softly and doesn't get to skip into the woods. And I was like, that he was picking apart that hole.
Yeah.
Like picking apart that course, and that was just so cool to me.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Ricky just has that. It was just this tournament. I mean, he's felt like this before, but this tournament really felt that way of like, okay, you know, y'all go do what you want to do. I'm going to get mine. I know when and where I'm going to attack, and I'm gonna just be disc golf smart. Like he just felt like the tour veteran out there.
Yeah,
and he was right in the mix.
That's sick.
You know, it's an exciting year, I think, for a Ricky Wysocki fan.
Hunter, I think that this course looks like so much fun.
It does. I do want to play.
Really like that. Yeah, I don't quite like. I would play it, the MPO, but the FPO looked like a ton of fun.
Yeah,
I'd love to go play the FPO.
I don't know what the normal day-to-day layout is.
A little bit more attackable for me. Not quite attackable, but
more
approachable, I should say. But yeah, because every time you would see the holes and you'd see the FPO basket, like that looks like a super fun hole.
And then you just keep going.
Yeah, but this property looks so sick. I don't know where they found all that elevation in Florida. I didn't know that existed.
That's why it was always called Throw Down the Mountain, because like those are mountains in Florida.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
but it's so cool though because you get like the Florida feel and everything, but there's like enough woods for it to be like a really cool wooded course. It was. I really liked the course a lot.
Now, here's a hot take. Maybe not a hot take. Aaron Gossage would be the best player in the world if he could putt.
Yeah.
He lost by 2 strokes and putted around 70% from C1X on the weekend. Like he's almost better from 40 feet than he is from 20.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Well, that's a sign of a not great putter.
It's just in his head. Like he's just it's all in his head. 'Cause his putts even like come out the hand clean. It's just like one point the commentary team was trying to evaluate his putt and everything was good, and they were like, I think he was just aimed at the wrong point of the basket.
Yeah.
That's what they decided. They were just like he was just aimed too far left is why he missed that. Like that's the only thing. Like his hand was straight and everything. It's just when he pointed, he just missed the basket. Yeah. And like I don't know, because like he was throwing the disc. Well, obviously his game doesn't suit every single course. But this course is game suited really well. He came in third, which is, he shouldn't be upset about. But it's just tough, like knowing where you left strokes out is within 30 feet of the basket. Like, that's what's hard.
He can throw those aggressive shots, and he can throw them so consistently too.
Yeah,
and like where he can pick out. I feel like he's almost the new Simon Lines is the Aaron Lines, but
somewhat. I'd probably say AB lines, but it's close.
Yeah, I was just saying because I heard Ezra pick apart on so many holes, be like, well, Aaron's going up there, and then Brody's like, well, why don't you do that? And he's like, because no one else can do that. And so, but I feel like he does that stuff so consistently though. But yeah, just can't putt.
He's good. Now, Mr. Consistency last year, rough start this year. Calvin Heimberg's top 5 streak was officially broken this weekend. He hadn't finished outside the top 5 since June of last year at the Portland Open. Top 5. Crazy streak. Came in 34th this weekend.
Dang.
Not at all what was expected. He was probably one of the most picked to win this event. Like, it seemed like this was a Calvin course. It seemed like this was a Calvin weekend. It was just really out of character for him. I don't know. You can't really pinpoint it to one specific thing. I mean, to finish 34th, he was well out of contention. I think he was going into the final round. He was only like 5 strokes out of a top 5, but then he dropped. He was in like 28th at that point and then finished in 34th.
Yeah.
And it'll be very interesting to see how he bounces back at Waco. Like, it just didn't. He wasn't on coverage other than like the first round. But like performance-wise, just didn't feel like Calvin out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the signs of a rough season ahead or if that's just a fluke of a tournament and he'll be back. Maybe he was sick. I don't know. But something was off. Very weird tournament for Calvin.
Well, speaking of rough, I just want to point out,
okay,
you've got the grip lock hat on.
I do.
I've got the grip lock shirt on. Really
I also
comfortable.
have the Am I Right Boys.
Yeah. So you should go at foundationdisc.com and you should buy grip lock merch, but this is the first and only time I'm going to say this. Maybe you should just throw something of Tour Life in your cart while you're at it, just like for the Broderick.
That's true.
I think we should
maybe pick up a Yuli horse item.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, how did Yuli do? Let's look at that too.
I just, let's
pick up a Yuli horse shirt this weekend, guys.
Yeah, let's show Brody a little bit of love here.
Let's show both of them a little bit of love. Neither of them performed to what they would have wanted. Now, Yuli did beat Brody by 15 strokes.
I mean, Brody almost came in dead last.
It was bad. It was just bad. Okay, I don't know what happened to Brody out there.
I will say he didn't look great in this practice round video. He did not look great.
He didn't play great out there. But we're just going to skip over that. We're going to ignore it. We're going to ignore it.
Just, there's we're not being negative at all. We're just saying, go throw a Tour Life item in your cart at foundationdisc.com.
You don't have to check out with it. Just throw it in your cart, send them a screenshot, and then remove it from your cart and add a grip locked item and then check out.
Yeah.
But the final storyline before we talk about the course and then before we talk about some off the course things that went down.
Oh no.
No, it's not that bad. Paul Macbeth streaks over. He was 5 for 5 at this event heading into the weekend. Obviously, he owns the course. There was a lot of storylines, but this was his return from injury. He finished in 52nd, but this is the big streak that ended. I didn't know it was a streak until I just confirmed it multiple times because I couldn't believe it. This is the first time in Macbeth's career that he has played in the opening Disc Golf Pro Tour or NT event and finished outside the top 10. That's the first time ever.
That hurts my heart.
So he played.
I'm not ready for it yet.
In like 2008, I think it was, his first NT event was like a middle of the season event, and he finished outside. But from 2009, I think is when it started, 15 years ago, till now, the Memorial or the Las Vegas Challenge or whatever was the opening event that was a DGPT or an NT, always in the top 10.
I'm still in denial. I'm not ready to accept it yet.
Yeah, so this is the first time. Now, again, this is similar to Paige, where it's just good to see him finish this tournament. Coming back from the shoulder injury, there was a lot of questions as to, like, is he going to need surgery? He got these stem cell shots. We didn't know how they're going to work. We saw him first round. I haven't heard after, like, how his shoulder is feeling, but in the first round, he seemed to be throwing forehands and backhands. It looked pain-free. He wasn't, like, grimacing. He wasn't holding his shoulder after. So hopefully that's a good sign. He finished this tournament out. Hopefully those are all good signs that point to we're getting close to a healthy Macbeth. And again, it's similar to Paige of, like, first tournament back. You just got to learn to trust your injury. You just got to get out there, just play some golf, finish an event.
Yeah.
So obviously that was at the sacrifice of 2 streaks. One is he's won 5 for 5 at Throwdown the Mountain, which is obviously a different course, same course, but same property, different tournament. But the first time ever that I saw in Macbeth's career, they finished outside top 10 there. But when you look at the bigger scheme of things, I think this weekend wasn't as big of a win as it could have been for Macbeth, but it was still, I would consider it a win of just played a tournament, got through it, back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, similar to Paige, hopefully Waco, we see some trending improvement and then some trending improvement into the rest of it. But the other big win for Paul this weekend was this course.
Yeah.
Very
impressed.
impressed.
So well.
I think Nick Carl was on the grounds crew there too. Shout out to whoever they have with this property. You could tell that like there was still some work to do to get it like perfectly manicured, but the way it played and the way it was designed, very impressive. Yeah. It challenged the entire field. It seemed very fair. The holes offered a wide variety of scoring possibilities, which made it extremely exciting to watch, especially down the final stretch. It was scoreable enough where there was enough birdies happening out there, but it wasn't getting shredded. So it was like scoreable enough to be entertaining while still difficult enough to like provide the variety between them. I think it was a really great addition to the tour, and I really liked it as a season opener too. I think I really
enjoyed it a lot. All
in all, I think it was a big win for the tour, big win for Olympus, and a big win for Paul and Dylan as the course owners down there, because I thought it was phenomenal. The only qualm I had, if I had to give one, was it was hard to feel how many people were out there watching, just because I think several holes, like it doesn't set up well for like all the spectators lining a fairway type thing.
Well, I think you just like really can't stand in the rough out there.
That's what I'm saying. It just wasn't really so you never got a good feel, which removed a little bit of energy from the event just because you didn't have some of those roars and stuff like that. But that's if you have to have a qualm.
I had some friends that were there this weekend, so I'd be interested in asking them about how it was to be a spectator there. Because I can't imagine that's a great course to spectate at. It's hard to know. It's one of those, I feel like when you got on the property, it would feel so different than how it filmed. Yeah. But it's hard to know. Like even just that you literally probably can't really walk through the rough very well.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so. But you know,
they were leaving discs out there because they weren't.
The rough's rough. The rough was rough. But viewership wise at home looked great. You know, I really enjoyed it. I think it played well on camera, and it seemed like the players really enjoyed it too. So like I said, the shots were fair. If you threw a good shot, you got rewarded. The greens were tricky. A lot of elevation changes. A lot of rollaway potential. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Really cool course.
Now, outside storylines. First one we've got to talk about. Don't worry. This is not going to be another year of we talk about the trophy after every event.
I've been waiting for this.
But this one we have to. They handed the winners, both winners, MPO and FPO, just a blank wooden chessboard as their quote-unquote trophy.
Or checkerboard.
Checkerboard.
No way of knowing.
That is fair.
Yeah.
A checker pattern on a board. Mm-hmm. Just blank wooden. Now, apparently these were handmade. According to the PDGA financial thing, these cost $400 a piece. Nick Carl chimed in on Twitter and said a personalized plaque will be given to the players who won to be attached afterwards. It doesn't matter really because cool.
It's cool that it's handmade, but like there's a lot of things that are handmade that still aren't good trophies.
Well, like if you're going the route of hand making it, sick. Great. Okay. Hand make the chess.com logo in the middle of it or
why isn't it a huge chess piece?
Yes.
Hunter,
yeah.
That is the only option. It should be a huge chess piece. Why is it not?
I agree. I don't know. I'm not the one. Do you think I decided to hand someone a chessboard?
I'm just like, that's the only thing that it should be. Why they hand out a checkerboard whenever it could have just been any large chess piece? Like the freaking koozies they had at the bottom of the baskets. Yeah. Take one of those big old chess pieces and give it to them.
They had them all over the course too. Like it was... It is tough. I don't
think about like a marble chess piece, like right here.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be that expensive.
You probably can get one for $400.
Yeah.
But like, could a chessboard be a trophy?
Shouldn't be.
Could it? Yeah, though it could. Like if it was mounted like diagonally on a nice base, you know what I mean, and it says like chess.com invitational FPO champion, and if you wanted to be personalized, just leave that next part blank, and then afterwards go get Evelina Solomon's name put on it. That's how you don't have to make hundreds of them.
I agree that's better, but it's
better.
I still don't like it.
But then it's at least a trophy.
Yeah.
Right now, it's
That
just a
is true.
chessboard.
Yeah, checkerboard.
Checkerboard.
No way of knowing.
Like at least the dyed disc, steering wheel, hockey jersey, bow door, etc. had the tournament logo.
Yeah.
This one, I mean, the tough look was, I understand that this isn't the case. I understand hundreds of dollars were put into it.
Yeah.
It feels like thought, not a lot of thought, but thought of some type was put in to at least have these pre-made. But it felt like Jeff Corns was the tournament director. I don't know if this was his decision or not, but it felt like the morning of the final day, someone was like, "Hey, Corns, did you get the trophy?" And he was like, "Oh, I thought so-and-so was doing it." And they're like, "No, I thought you were doing it." Shoot. All right, let's run to Walmart and buy a chessboard. Checkerboard.
Thank you.
That or let's go to Cracker Barrel. Like, that's what it felt like when you.
And like,
it was just sad.
It
made me sad.
Is like what you're saying. There's obviously more thought put into it, and like we know
I know that's not what
they
happened.
didn't want to print out a plaque yet because they didn't want to print out a bunch of them depending on who
But
would win.
again, you
Like
just
that.
leave one line blank.
But why on earth is there an option other than just getting a big old chess piece? Like, why is there not a big old king or big old queen or why wasn't there a king for the MPO and a queen for the FPO? I'm making myself more angry by the second.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
It wasn't received super well on social media. People who did defend it of like, well, I mean, it's a cool thing. Then people would just respond and be like, why didn't they add the logo to it? And then everyone would respond like, yeah, that would have been a pretty, that's very low hanging fruit.
Better.
Like, at least just would burn chess.com invitational into the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like, at least that's like a plaque. Like, you would have at least been 50-50. That's what I'm saying. Like, at least I wouldn't have tweeted about it, I think. I probably would have looked at it and been like, but I wouldn't have tweeted about it.
You've been like, not my fave.
Yeah, but when I saw it was blank, I was just like, that's just a chessboard.
Yeah.
Like, I know this isn't the same one, but it looks identical, $40 Amazon.
Yeah.
I could have said $380 or $360 if it went to the purse. So that was tough. Other thing that was kind of tough that happened, PDGA Live did crash during Saturday's round. Not the best look, mainly because I don't remember UDisc live crashing ever, but it could have.
We would have talked about it if it did.
I feel like, but they got it resolved relatively quickly, and then it worked the rest of the weekend. So, in the grand scheme of things, big storyline, I don't think so. Because the other thing that the PDGA Live did, there's still bugs to work out. Obviously, this is a brand new thing they're adding. So, like, for instance, you can't star players. I can't say I want to keep up with Brody Smith, Paul Gannon. I can't have those at the top.
Okay.
But I think they already are aware of that. Hopefully that's a new feature coming next week. You can't look at the like tournament-wide stats.
Yeah.
Like when I go to the stats tab, it's only for the round. So like if I want to go for the entire tournament, there's not an easy tab to do so. That's nice to look at. It's like, hey, how was AB's putting all weekend? I can only see he was 13 for 15 C1X, 87% final round. But then round 2, you had to like go do the averages. You know what I'm saying? So like there's little things, but they've added, like, I can see final round, AB's average putt was 12 feet. He had 218 feet of total putts thrown, with his long putt being made was 25 feet. So, like, that's a really fun stat we didn't have access to before. Because then even, like, his tap-ins of, like, 4 foot, 1 foot are on here and being factored into that. So you can see when someone's, like, really having a very solid putting round. Like, Ricky, 344 feet of total putts, with 60 feet being his long putt, 3 for 8 from circle 2. Like, it tells a little bit more of the round story. So there are some really good additional features. I think it's just going to get better as the year goes on. Overall, I thought it was a win for PDGA Live. I thought it worked fine. The one crash for like a few hours, frustrating, but other than that, it was fine. The other thing that I think was a win this weekend was DGN. I had a great experience. I didn't have a single streaming issue all weekend long. I put a tweet out to say, like, hey, my experience was great. How was yours? And I'll read it. I'll check here again. But last night I read through like 40 responses. All of them were saying worked great.
That's awesome.
Which is what I was kind of hoping would happen. All-Star weekend, a little bit of a dumpster fire. A lot of stuff they were figuring out. One weekend later, kickoff of the season, seemed like it went great for majority of people, which means some people had problems that were probably due to their Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
There were still some problems where like some people couldn't get it. Like there's bugs, but there wasn't a like universal DGN is not going well right now. Universal consensus was DGN's working great, which is awesome because they launched a bunch of new tiers and stuff like that. Now, one of the new tiers does promise ad-free. I did see on Twitter where apparently the ad-free stream this weekend was just cutting to the leaderboard during the normal ad times.
Yeah.
So people felt like that was a little misleading because they weren't actually getting extra coverage. They were just seeing the leaderboard. And apparently during FPO stream day 1, it just showed the event logo and the audio in the background was still the ads playing. What? So that I think was just a mistake. Surely, surely they just forgot to mute a channel. But there's someone had a video of their stream and it was just the chess.com logo in the middle, and then you just heard Zuka ad or whatever ads in the background. Hilarious. They were like, "This isn't ad free. This is just I can't
nice
even see it." Nice
free advertisement for Zuka though.
Yeah, I just can't even see it. So I think some of those were just kinks getting worked out though. Yeah. Which similar to PDJ Live, is this the best time to work out kinks starting the season? No, obviously not. You want to get stuff, especially PDJ Live's at least free. Yeah. The ad free, you're asking people for $20 a month. So if you're gonna offer that, better be freaking good. But I do feel like these are just start of the year kinks that we're gonna forget about by middle of the season. I feel like come
still
few tournaments
minor.
from now, that's what I'm saying. All in all, way better than it could have been. The weekend before, people were just having trouble watching disc golf at all. It sounds like the majority of people that wanted to watch live disc golf got to watch live disc golf this weekend and got to watch a really freaking entertaining tournament. So
one thing I did notice was, and I didn't consume the entire tournament. I just watched little bits here and there, and just to keep up with the storylines. But I did notice there was a couple moments where crazy shots would happen and stuff like that. But it was kind of hard to focus on that because it felt like commentary was doing a little too much talking over some points.
3 people in the booth is too much.
It felt like while I was trying to watch a sick shot that somebody's doing, I was just listening. I was in a coffee shop and hearing people talk behind me while I was trying to watch something.
Well, I think the Ian, Philo, and Climo, I think they have good friendship chemistry.
Yeah.
But Philo and the champ talk over each other too much to be commentary team. And then Ian has a hard time corralling the stream and getting it back. I don't think those 3 are the best, in my opinion, because I know when it's Nate, and Terry, it goes pretty well. When you have Nate Sexton, Nate Dawson, Terry, I know those 3 goes pretty well. But I think there's a reason that a typical broadcast team is one guy doing play-by-play and one guy doing color commentary. And because it's just with the I guide the stream, you provide your insights.
Yeah, because with the 3 of them, it felt like they were all storyteller personalities.
They are, yeah.
So they were all trying to tell their stories at the same time while we're trying to watch a story happen right now.
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit jarring to watch because of that. I felt like my brain couldn't focus on what was happening, but that's me being nitpicky about it, but just something I noticed.
The other coverage thing I wanted to check out this weekend was Jomez. So I actually got up this morning. First thing, I don't know who at Jomez's editors is cranking this thing out to where I woke up at 5:30 and FPO final round was already posted, but
it's amazing.
Get yourself some coffee. Yeah, get yourself a Monster Energy. I mean, it's 6:50 Eastern. MPO final round's already posted. If that's normal for this year, that's crazy.
And that's barely post-production.
That's what I'm saying. That is essentially live. And the other thing is they also took a step towards live in the way of how you consume it now, because they added in a lot, not a ton, but enough more check-ins on. I won't even call them check-ins. They just mixed it into the stream where you saw people on chase card, people who had relevant holes.
Yeah.
You saw it a lot more. There was a constant tracker up top of this is your current top 3. They cut to the top 10 leaderboard a lot. Honestly, what it feels like is the Pro Tour was, and I don't know if it's the Pro Tour or Jomez, obviously they're owned under the same thing. It feels like though they're almost gearing post-produced people up of you're gonna enjoy how live coverage is if you enjoy Jomez, because it also, to watch it's an hour and a half long now. It's not, before people were well, I wanted to get my quick fix. You can still skip and stuff like that, but if you're sitting down and just watching it, the final round, front nine's 42 minutes, back nine's 48 minutes.
Yeah.
As a consumer who I love watching live disc golf, I thoroughly enjoyed the product they put out. Yeah. I watched through FPO final round this morning. I didn't watch through all of it, but I wanted enough to get a feel of how does this coverage go down. And I was really enjoying it. I thought they were doing a phenomenal job. But it does push you a little bit closer to that live disc golf.
Yeah.
It's not quite a let's get through this. You're gonna watch 30 minutes of disc golf and you just watch the whole round.
Yeah, because before, if you were a consistent Jomez watcher, and you do decide to dabble in some live disc golf one weekend, it's like, I mean, it's painful because you're like, no, I just want to keep on watching them play disc golf, and I want to keep on watching Paul play disc. Like, like, you're like, I want to watch this card through because you're so used to, we as a disc golf community, we were so used to how Jomez used to do it. But I feel like this does make it to where it kind of transitions people into being more comfortable with that live disc golf feel.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that was an intentional change. And I think it was, and I think it's a very smart move because as the Pro Tour, you're constantly trying to sell people on live disc golf. You're right; it's not a jarring transition now. Like, you watch it and you're already used to watching people from different cards because now you're seeing it on Jomez. And so then when you decide to watch Worlds live or something live, it's, also some people haven't given live a chance in years. Mm-hmm. They're already going to be shocked because if you go back a few years, live disc golf was basically the exact same shots you saw on Jomez, but with everything in between. Yeah. You were just watching lead card. And it was a really big bonus if you got to see someone who's now you're watching shots from all over the course, just constantly. So I really liked it. I thought all in all, mad props to the Pro Tour. I thought it was a great kickoff weekend, and it got me really excited for this upcoming season.
Sweet.
The other new thing from Grip Locked this week is we are officially tracking the Manufacturers Cup.
Here we go.
Announced it last week, and we actually have a graphic I will try to get to Konner to throw up on the screen while I'm talking through this if you're a visual person. But this is provided by Edwin Stats. He's doing all of our statistic stuff for us. So this is great. The 2024 Manufacturers Cup event number 1. In the lead right now is Discraft, putting up 40 points. And second, we have Dynamic Disc at 25. Discmania came in at third at 23. And then you have Prodigy and Westside tied for 6. And Castplast was able to score 1 point. Essentially, when players come in the top 10, they earn points for their main disc golf sponsor. Some key things here. Discraft, obviously, with 40. Dynamic and Discmania, they had the most players in the top 10 with 3 each. So that's why they're able to have a decent bit of scoring. MVP, Innova, and DGA, 0 players finishing in the top 10 this week.
Wow.
But yeah, really big weekend. It's because Discraft was able to get 2 players on the podium. Anthony Barella earned him 25 points and Aaron Gossage earned him 15 points. So that alone will do it. But that's going to be something that'll be fun to kind of keep track of the rest of this year. We'll see what disc golf's like as a team sport.
I'm not going to lie. Whenever you said nobody in Innova, I was like, wait, but Ricky was up there.
Dynamic, man.
He just
got the double D's on his back.
Yep.
All right, it's time for a little Trevor's Trivia. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to Sporacle.
Minus Trevor Trivia.
And I saw a fun quiz on Sporacle, Konner, that I thought would be fun to do, which is the Simon Lizotte quiz.
Oh.
I don't think we've done this before.
Okay.
How well do we know Simon Lizotte? 10 questions. I'm just going to hit play quiz, and we'll see our score out of 10.
I love it.
Simon's best C1X putting percentage in a season was 87%. What year was this from? 2017, 18, 19, or 21?
I like 18. No.
I kind of like 21.
Oh, you like 21?
Do I like 21?
I can't tell.
Does it do something for me? I just feel like Simon's gotten better.
No, you're right. I changed my mind as soon as I said it.
You like 20? Let's go 21.
Okay, do 21.
I think we got it right. 1 out of 10.
Does it tell? Okay.
I don't know. What is Simon Lizotte's longest cash streak in Elite Series and major events? 31, 39, 49, or 57. All impressive scores.
Yeah.
49 feels good.
If I would have just guessed, I wouldn't have guessed any of those.
No.
I got sure.
57 feels like a lot. 31 doesn't feel like enough.
49 also
it was 31.
Feels like a lot. Okay.
It was 31. It does tell us if we're right. We got the first one right. Okay. We got the second one wrong. What year did Simon Lizotte have 15 MPO wins, the most of his career in 1 year? 15 wins. This obviously it wasn't all on tour. I'm going to say
surely
2015 he would have won nothing on tour because Paul won everything.
Yeah.
He might have won like 1 or 2 events because Paul obviously came in second.
I feel like around the year of 2017 is kind of whenever he made himself known.
But I feel like that was when he was touring a lot more. Yeah. I feel like this has to be a pre-tour thing.
Okay, like a baby.
I think either 2013 or 2017. 2017, pros
I'm the
were
same way. I'm 2013 and 2017.
Pros in 2017 were still playing like A tiers and stuff, so that could be it.
Yeah.
But 2017 was like the dominance of Rick.
Yeah, I'm scared My mind says 2017.
Let's do it. Let's go 2017. It was 2013.
Well, my heart was right.
Your heart.
My mind was wrong.
Simon Lizotte shot an 1110 rated round at the 2019 Memorial. This is the highest rated disc golf Pro Tour round rating of all time. True or false? Highest disc golf Pro Tour round rating.
I know what my heart feels here, but
I think it's true.
I want to hear what you say first.
I think it's true because
That's what I was going for as well.
32 is the highest of all time, also at Memorial. But that was by Paul. But that was pre-Pro Tour.
Mm-hmm.
The Pro Tour was only at Memorial for a little bit, and the highest rated round basically had to have happened there.
Yeah.
So I'm going true.
That's what I was
It was true.
Okay.
Yes. All right. We're 2 out of 10. How many 5+ round tournaments has Simon Lizotte won, including a Final 9 as a round, if so? 5+ round tournament? Not many. I think 3.
Okay.
19.
Wow.
Where are there so many 5+ round tournaments? What?
Guys, Simon Lizotte is awesome.
What tournaments are 5+ rounds?
I don't know. Apparently, at least 19.
Yeah, and Simon wins them all.
That's crazy.
No, because the worlds were all okay. Anyways, Simon Lizotte's largest U.S. MPO win margin of his career was at the 2019 Newton Heck, Massachusetts. How many strokes over second place did Simon win by?
15.
You like 15? I like it. Go big or go home. It was 11.
It was 11.
We are wrong. We don't know Simon. At what event was Simon Lizotte's best cash per throw? 28.33 per throw. 2015 Ledgestone, 2017 Glass Blown, 2018 Memorial, or 2020 The Preserve. I feel like it's got to be one he wins. But 2015 Ledgestone had a sneaky large purse. Ledgestone always has a sneaky large purse. Ooh, probably Memorial, because he wouldn't have thrown much there.
I gotta say, that's what my heart was saying.
Nope, it was 2015 Ledgestone. Dang it, Hunter.
My heart is stupid.
Simon Lizotte has the 5th most DGPT podiums at MPO. True or false?
I don't know anything anymore.
True.
False. It's false.
It was true.
It was true.
2019, Simon Lizotte made the most Circle 2 putts of his career. How many did he make?
This dude can make a lot of Circle 2 putts.
Most of his career was in 20... I like over 100, so I think 116 or 131.
Let's go 116. We were hurt by the most.
Yeah, I like 116. It was 92. How many events has Simon Lizotte cashed at $1,000 or higher? 36, 43, 59, or 65?
I don't know.
Let's just... Okay, I'm a scramble them. A, B, C, or D?
C.
A, B, C. 36. Nope, Konner, it was B. 65.
Dang it.
All right, we don't know Simon. We got 3 out of 10, 33%. We got 30%. The average score was 33%, so we're slightly below average.
That's not bad.
Yeah. We know Simon slightly less than y'all.
Wow, that's tough. That's really hard.
That is hard. I don't feel like it was how well do you know Simon. I feel like it was just how much do you know random stats.
How well do you know Simon's stats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How well do you know stats by Simon?
Hunter, you mind if I spend a second clearing something up?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I had a take on Grip Locked last week, and just a heads up, anyone, anyway. So based off of the information that we had last week, which was just Ian's commentary saying, I hope you don't want to buy anything in Gannon's bag because it's all collectible. So based
not at all what was said, but
close
enough.
What did he say?
Brian just said a lot, like Gannon bags a lot.
Overall wrong.
Brian during the All-Star Weekend just said Gannon bags a lot of collectible Discmania.
Yeah. So just based off of that, we were talking about how that's kind of disappointing. I was really excited for Gannon to make me excited about new Discmania because I really only care for old Discmania, and I was disappointed because it's not going to happen. And I said that it seems like he's basically saying the new stuff isn't good enough, that I choose the old stuff. So since then, we've learned that 50% of his bag is new, 50% is old, right? That's what he said.
Roughly, but yes.
And unfortunately, I still stand by my take of I think that's too much. I think that is still unwise, but where I would like to make clarity is I don't think it's unwise on Gannon's part. Gannon's doing exactly what I would do, which is throw the old Discmania because I love the old Discmania.
I'm be honest. Gannon's doing 50% more than I think I would do.
Yeah, yes.
If I had access to unlimited old Discmania,
no, I agree with you.
I might have 90%.
Any of the Discmania guys that are doing that, I don't think that they're not doing anything wrong. I just think that it'd be wiser on Discmania's side as a company to encourage and maybe even make it a rule that their guys have to throw at least a certain amount. I think they should have to throw 100% because it's really just not Discmania anymore because you can't sell that stuff anymore. So I just wanted to clear that up, that I don't think that that Ganon is doing anything wrong specifically. I just think that it's kind of unwise on Discmania's side to allow their players to do that.
Clarity. PDGA turned down UDisc, question mark? So during an interview with the Upshot podcast, Steve Hill, the marketing director for UDisc, said and then later confirmed that UDisc offered a discount to the PDGA for their members at no cost to the PDGA, and they turned it down. Direct quote of it being confirmed is the host of the podcast saying, "You offer the PDGA, so the PDGA members get discounts on UDisc with no sort of return to you guys," and they said no, and Steve Hill said correct. This was obviously taken to Reddit, which was not received well. Now, we are only hearing one side of the story here, so maybe there's more to it, but this information and the transition from UDisc Live to PDGA Live does make you wonder if maybe the PDGA is trying to build their own UDisc competitor.
Interesting.
Behind the scenes right now. If they are, I'll be honest, kind of makes sense. Would it be successful? I don't know. But they have the data they need already. They already have, like, when you go in to run a tournament, they already have most courses out there already in their database. So many players have PDGA memberships and PDGA profiles. They already have, like, a lot of they already have a scoring app built for the PDGA's live events. Like, this PDGA.com/score. You use it at pretty much every PDGA event you go to. So they already have all of that built out. And if it functioned as the official scorecard for PDGA sanctioned tournaments, like if they just turn the PDGA live scoring app into just a regular scorekeeping app, regular tournament players would already have it on their phone and already be used to using it. So if you made it like free for members, and this would be a big one, I think, if you gave out like PDGA ratings, like fake ratings for each round you enter in the app, I could see it catching on.
Yeah,
I don't think it would catch on with non-PDGA members because like
that's very true.
Because like UDisc is so good. Like UDisc is just from the beginning. UDisc has been the best disc golf product on the face of the planet.
Yeah, but
I could see with it like as a PDGA member, if I'm playing like the peak of my tournament playing career, I probably played close to 20 tournaments. Okay, so like every other weekend throughout the course of the year, I'm basically playing a tournament. If every other weekend I'm having to use this app on my phone, that during the normal course of my week can do the same thing that UDisc does for me, like, am I still having both on my phone? I don't know. Especially if, oh my gosh, Konner just ripped the headphones off the desk. Especially if UDisc is charging you $30 a year, I think is what they're up to now. And the PDGA one was able to like be quote unquote free. I don't know. That is definitely something that would be interesting to take into consideration. So is the PDGA turning down UDisc because they're building a competitor? Maybe. They did definitely turn down UDisc according to Steve Hill. So interesting to learn why that might be. Before we finish the show off with the Silas Selects, I just wanted to shout out that there is a brand new, literally called Official Disc Golf World Rankings, which means that, you know what, this is probably got to be official Disc Golf World Rankings. The PDGA launched it, and they launched it in collaboration with Sports Edge, a team consisting of Mark Brody and Dylan Byrne. Brody was the developer of the current formula used in the official World Golf Rankings, which is used in professional golf tours around the world. I believe he's also the guy who invented strokes gained on the field stat, which is very fascinating.
Oh, that's cool.
So he used a pretty official team. The rankings prior to this weekend, obviously, are a little wonky, but they're coming from the off season. The rankings will be updated every Wednesday, so we won't really be able to talk about them on Grip Locked ever, but every Wednesday they'll be updated, so we can probably use them for the preview shows after the event. So it'll be interesting to see how players move, because like for instance, right now Anthony Barella is in 12th. I'll be very curious to see what this win does, like how far up he moves. Paul McBeth is in 4th. How far down does he move, etc. And it'll be interesting to see Eagle McMahon, who didn't play, like can Eagle McMahon not play and overtake Calvin Heimberg, who is currently 1 in the world? Most likely, yes. So it'll just be interesting to kind of keep an eye on, but there is official World Golf Ranking. So, all right, Silas Selects.
Is it that box?
It's that box on top there. This is it. We only have a few chances to guess this before Trevor comes back. So you go ahead and insert your selection, Konner. What's in this box here?
What is in that box is a Wraith. An Innova Wraith.
He went with Innova last week. I don't know if Silas would go with Innova back-to-back weeks.
That's exactly what you would think.
Give me a Raptor. Discraft Raptor. Oh,
I kind of thought it was a Raptor for a second.
It was a soul. It was a Discraft soul. Oh, my word. I'm getting close. I'm starting to learn how Silas works, how he acts. I've been monitoring his movements throughout the days, and I'm starting to understand. I want to think like Silas so that pretty soon I just know what he's picking every week.
I really thought whenever I saw the
when I saw the Discraft logo, I got super excited,
and
it was
a Raptor.
It was hard for me to find the name of the disc. So I had a brief millisecond there where I thought I did it, but I didn't. It was a soul. That's Grip Block for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we will talk to you again next week, because I think the Pro Tour has this upcoming week off, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll just talk to you on Monday. See you then.